It is a warm welcome to everyone. Hello, it's episode 8 of the Aussie Tech Security. My name is Glenn Goodman. How are you all this episode? We are brought to you by athwebhosting.com.au. If you want some affordable web hosting that's situated right here in Australia for some fantastic pings, then go and jump into athwebhosting.com.au. And also by Roger, who lives at...
Why did you sound so surprised?
Yes.
It's Roger.
Yeah, that's just the Roger. Well, you can find Rogers, who is proudly sponsoring us as well, at rniconsulting.com.au. And I think it's high time we did say hello to Roger. How you doing, Roger?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. We're in for another episode, so that's good.
Yes.
But first of all, I see that you have been doing some webinars around the place.
Yes. I've been pushing webinars regularly. We've now got a new website that we're pushing that's mine, just for me.
Yeah.
Which
Nice.
is rogersmith.com.au/Roger. And all of the webinars we're doing are pointing to digital security and what you can do about it to protect yourself.
Right.
It's been pretty successful.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
We're doing it as a webinar, but you can also see it on Google Plus as a Hangout, and we're doing each one as part of a test to see how Periscope works and whether it's worth using or not.
Oh, nice.
So we're just seeing how it all works.
Yes, okay. And if you want to catch the live webinar, so is all the instructions at the address you just gave before?
Yeah, at the bottom of the page, there's the next 4 webinars in the series are always there. So
Right.
if you want to sign up for one, if you think one of the titles attracts your tickles your fancy, then just jump on and sign up. We're not in the process of selling anything. This is just purely educational, and it's about getting people's awareness of digital security up higher than what it is at the moment.
All right, good stuff. Now, if you want to watch them live, when are you live?
When am I live? Tuesdays every 2 weeks and Thursdays every 2 weeks.
Oh, busy boy.
Yeah.
And you have time for this show. Unreal.
Yeah, and the show, and there's a few other things that are happening as well.
Oh, yeah, good stuff. Sounds good. Yeah. Now, why did you...
I sleep between 1 and 2 in the morning. That's it.
Right. Oh, what happens when daylight saving finishes?
Well,
you don't sleep.
You might get an extra hour.
Yeah. Or vice versa. Now, what was I going to ask you? Now, Periscope, why are you doing that? That's a live video streaming service, is that right?
That's right. I thought, well, I'll experiment with Periscope to see what happens. And the last webinar we did, we had actually 3 viewers on Periscope, which surprised the crap out of me, which was really good. All we do with Periscope is literally say this is what the subject matter is, and point them at the screens of what we're doing as well, so people can actually see, and talk about what's happening.
I'll tell you, just as a side note, before we get into the guts of the show, if you look for, we dabbled with a thing called blab.im. Don't know if you've seen that or heard of that. Look, we moved off it because we did have some technical difficulties, but only because the setup that I've got here, with like mics and mixers and all that sort of stuff. But if you want to have a look at that, you get a lot of blow-ins. They just they know you're live and they just come on in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing about Google Plus as well. We had the last webinar we did, which was a lunch and learn, and a lunch and learn is just half an hour. And what it is you're sitting down at the computer, have your lunch, have a cup of coffee. We'll talk about and discuss some component of digital security, and it's great for feedback. But with Google Plus, we get blow-ins coming in all the time. There was 7 people on the last webinar, and there was 19 on Google Plus, which was something that we hadn't expected, actually. So
yeah, okay, that's all right. That's good.
Yeah,
well, that's what it's all about.
Yes.
All right.
Re-educating people.
Now, is there, just off the top of your head, and I know, sorry, we didn't discuss this beforehand, but any news, any important things come to mind that's happened since the last episode?
Apart from something that we're going to discuss later on, and that's talking about BYOD and your phone, for instance. There's been a really big push in the last two or 3 weeks about a variant of malware that is actually physically targeting your smart devices, and it's something that really people should be very aware of. And it is. we've noticed in the last probably month actually that there's two targeted attacks coming through. One of them is ransomware, and ransomware is causing a major problem. We had a bit of a discussion about it last week, last episode. But also the ransomware is actually also targeting people's smart devices, and we keep a lot of information on our smart devices. And if that all gets encrypted and you can't get it back, what situation are you going to be in? And that's something that we really have to be very aware of.
Do you find that the ransomware are iPhones just as susceptible? Or are you mainly talking Androids? Or?
You're talking Androids. The other thing was there's this big hoo-ha with the FBI and Apple, which is something that I've been vigorously commenting on on Facebook recently, is that the FBI and a circuit judge in America has deemed that Apple has to release all the information about one of the phones that was captured from one of the shootings recently. Apple said they can't do it. FBI has told them that they want a backdoor. But the trouble is with a backdoor, the moment you give a backdoor to a system, then anybody else has got the ability to use it. And this is where I don't think law enforcement and or government and management realise the actual problems that just having this idea out in the field can cause.
I know that was one of the topics that we probably discussed, probably in a bit of length, actually, this week on the Aussie Tech Heads podcast.
Yep.
And because I was of the opinion that why is it my main concern or whatever, is why is this being brought into the public arena? You know, like it's FBI and Apple. Why didn't they just get together in a room and say, hey, look, this is what we want to do. This is what we need to do. Can you just give us access to the phone? No one needs to know so we can get the evidence so we can put these two away or whatever.
Yep.
But why do you think it's in the public arena? Is this something that should be in the public arena?
I think this has been brought into the public arena by Apple itself, because Apple is actually showing that the system that they've got, and what the FBI want them to do is actually not put a backdoor in. If you've got an Apple phone or a tablet, after 10 attempts at the passcode, it will wipe the device.
Oh, I didn't know.
Okay, so this is part of the software. It's a part of the newest upgrade of the software that's just come out. So 10 attempts on your passcode, and it will wipe the data.
Right.
There is a progressive system in the back end. So after the first 3 attempts, it locks it. After the second attempts, it locks it. After the 9 attempts, it locks it. And on the 10th attempt, if you still haven't got the password right, it will quite happily blow it away.
Right.
Now, what the FBI wanted was them to put in a backdoor that doesn't wipe the data.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so they can do a brute force attack on the 4-code passcode that's on the system, and then from there they can then get into it. But if they've got a restriction of 10 attempts, then they're never going to get in unless they actually know what the passcode is.
So you think that's
what the whole thing is about. They don't want to put a physical backdoor in, a password to get into it, because that has disastrous consequences across the board. We all know about default passwords and everything else. But this actually means that instead of being a secure component, after 10 attempts the data's gone, that after 1 million attempts the data's gone. So that's what they're trying to do.
Okay, so so it's more that Apple just trying to be a bit bang their chest about how secure they are.
That is one of the things,
Yeah. All right, so why is it that the smartphones are a target for hackers? Like if Apple's, we'll pick on Apple for the minute, talk about Apple. So they're more of a closed ecosystem.
Yes.
So obviously that would be a bit of a gold mine for the hackers, or can they already get in, or why is it so sought after then?
Well, the reason why Apple is such a target is it never used to be so popular. The more popular something gets, the bigger the target surfaces, and then we have a problem with it going to the next level, which is, okay, let's start writing things for accessing the Apple. There's 2 components of actually accessing the system itself. One is to put in, to get malware onto the system that's going to record everything you do. So your password becomes a non-password because they have access to it. But the other thing was, and this is something that happened a couple of months ago, was the software development kit for applications themselves, that was compromised. So any application that was built on that system went up into the Apple Store and then was downloaded to people, which then compromised systems. So it wasn't actually the Apple system that got compromised. It was the application that people were downloading onto it.
Yeah, right.
And this is where people really have a minimal understanding of what the whole infrastructure and the whole ecosystem works on, because Apple does manage people uploading stuff to their app store. It is a good reason why they are a lot more secure than an Android. An Android, you can go to a website and download an application straight onto your phone, and that's where they bypass even Google's application system as well.
Yes.
Because you can do that. You can put in a link on an email or a link on some system.
Yep.
You click on that link, you go to a website, and then you download that application.
So why would software developers want to do it that way? Just because they can't be bothered going through the Play Store?
Well, they can't be bothered going through the rigorous testing system that Google has got in place.
Right.
And again, this is something. There's a couple of stats out there that says, out of the 50 or 60 apps on the phone, you're probably only going to download it, use it for 20 shots, and then decide it's not going to be used again. So you end up with all these residual crappy things on your phone that you probably never use again afterwards anyway. And each one of those is a potential risk to your phone as it is.
Yeah. So I suppose like the phone, if you could break, well, with Apple, it's a 4-digit passcode or 4 to 6 or whatever. You break that, and then you've got the access of that person's life pretty much.
Yeah.
Auto log into Facebook, auto log into email, pretty much auto log into a bank
account. Yes.
Just everything. So that 4-digit passcode. Why then wouldn't pick on Apple again, but Apple, Android, why wouldn't the smartphones require a more higher strength password? Why just
the Apple 6 has actually got the iPhone 6 has actually got a 6-digit passcode, and it also has biometrics as well. So you can set a relatively complicated six character password for your, and actually Apple will actually ask you if you want to use numbers or letters. In the newer systems as well. So they are keeping ahead of the curve. But again, it still comes down to, if you try 10 times, it's not going to let you in anyway because there's no data on it to let you into. And you can brick your phone anyway. So
right. So after the 10th time, it wipes and bricks.
Yeah.
I wondered what happened after that.
You've got a really good paperweight.
Yes.
Really expensive one too.
Yes. And Apple won't help you out.
No, that's right.
Oh, right, okay. Okay, so why... So hackers, they're obviously trying to get into the smartphones but what are they... Is their main reason just for, like, identity fraud? Is that the main thing?
There's a number of reasons. One is, it doesn't matter which piece of technology they can compromise. It has a monetary value to them. And this is what people really don't understand, is the fact that if someone's got a compromised phone, they can sell access to Facebook, they can sell access to Twitter, they can sell access to bank accounts, they can sell access to your credit card, they can sell access to your email system.
But who wants to buy access, say, to your bank account?
Well, if they can sell access to your bank account, well, they can then pass it on in the dark web to someone who will then take all the money out of it.
Right. So they're sort of the hackers probably a little bit too scared to take the money.
That's
but
right.
They've got the information where they sort of can't get back to them.
Yeah, it's quite an incredible place. Some of the chat rooms on Tor, they are pretty intense. If you can understand the jargon that they use.
Yeah.
But some of it is I've got 250 credit card details. Who wants to buy them? I'm selling them for $2 a shot. Yeah, so they've actually made $500 and they haven't really done anything. It depends on how much. There was an article recently about one of the universities in America, they stole 500 credit card total system. So that was number, PIN number, date, and the number in the background. 500 of them, and they netted $8 million.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so you can see where the bad guys in their stages can actually target what you have.
So by trawling around on the dark web, as you do,
on a system that doesn't do anything else.
Yeah, and obviously you would probably understand the jargon to a certain degree, probably to a higher degree. How do you think that how ahead of the curve do you think that the Apple and the Android is? Like, are they keeping up? Are they ahead, or are they just losing the battle? Do you think?
You've got to remember, with digital security, it's a reactive process. You've got to see something that's being done before you can actually do something to stop it from happening. Right. 99% of the stuff that they do, they already know about. But that 1% is someone thinking in a different plane, different targeting, different way of getting in. Hacking team was very good at this. As they were supposedly the good guys, but they had stuff that they discovered that they hadn't told the actual designers and developers of applications.
Yep.
And it wasn't until actually the black hats found out about it and they started using it that they released it, because they'd gone on to the next thing. Yeah, and there were holes in hacking team had found holes in Java, in Adobe Flash. They'd found holes in Internet Explorer that hadn't been, and these were zero-day exploits that hadn't come across anywhere else.
All right. What else can they do to your smartphone, or what else can they do with information? They just can they use? I suppose with an Android, they could probably use it as a bot computer.
Yes,
as well.
Yeah, again, it can be used as a bot. They can do other things with it. They can use your SMS system to go to premium SMS. So you're going to a premium SMS. It's costing you 55 cents each time you go. They're quite happily collecting the money at the other end.
Yeah, right.
So as I said, there's areas of digital crime that people really don't think about. They don't think it through. And we've really got to a situation now where everything is swipe or double tick or double click, or even a laptop or a server. You come across something and you'll go, oh, okay, I've got to double click on that. To download something, you have to click on something. And we've been, I suppose, programmed in the last 30 years that when Windows came out, everything was double click. And then Apple came out with a single click, and it got even more complicated. But we've all been conditioned into that. What you see on the screen, you've got to do something with. And it's now one of the things is we've now got three, I suppose, catchphrases. One is use common sense, which is really how you look at what's in front of you.
Yep.
Be paranoid, because everybody is really after you, and trust no one, because we now get emails from the taxation department. We get emails from AFP. We get emails from post office, and all of those have had ransomware components attached to them. So again, trust no one. If it looks, then all three of those come into play when you're protecting yourself.
There was a story this week that was out. I'm not sure what the ransomware was, PayCrypt or something like this. Yeah. And these guys are pretty kind to us. You know, they'll encrypt your system and ask for money, but they while you're downloading the ransomware, it also downloads a little online chat, so you can chat to them. And,
great! Does that include "I'm going to kill you"?
So you're able to say, "Oh, hi, how would you like that Bitcoin?" And I'm having trouble.
Can I open up an account?
I'm having trouble with the Bitcoin thing. Can you help me out? It won't be a moment. Wait for one of our representatives.
Yes. But actually, there was a Ukrainian group. You remember the FBI virus in 2008, 2009?
Yeah.
Well, that was actually run by a Ukrainian company And it was a full-blown company. They did something like 500 million euros of revenue through that company, and they paid taxes on it.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
right.
and also had a help desk, and they had an accounting department, and they had all of these normal things that you have for a normal business. And it wasn't until the FBI and the local law enforcement shut them down that even people in the office realised that they were a criminal organisation, because they thought they were just a normal company doing normal company stuff.
Okay, so I suppose now that we've sort of got a bit of understanding what hackers are after with when they're looking at your phone, looking to get into phones, that probably shows us why the organisations are a bit sketchy about your bring your own device, or BYOD. Yes. So what happens in an organisation when someone says, well, I suppose, can I use my own device? There's probably two paths, I would imagine. Can I use my own device just to access the Wi-Fi, or can I use my own device to access the actual network?
Yes.
So
now there's two areas if you think about it. One is from the personal point of view, and one is from the business point of view. Now, if someone's using their own equipment, the only thing that the business has to really pay for is maybe a percentage of what they're using the phone for. So it becomes an economical driver for a business to say, well, we don't have to supply a phone because they're going to have one. We don't have to supply a plan because they've got their own. We only have to pay 30% of their plan.
Yeah.
Now, on top of that, from a personal point of view, it means that you don't have to carry two phones around, which is great. But on top of that, how do you know how secure the phone is that the client, that your staff member is using?
Yeah.
Again, if they're going to access just Wi-Fi, that's great. But is that Wi-Fi access going to be restricted in any way? Are you going to manage that as a business risk? And if they have access to your network, for instance, for email or for RDP access, or if they've got access to some SharePoint components, for instance, how secure do you want their BYOD to be? Yeah. And those are the two real components you have to throw up against the wall and say, which ones are we going to have in place and which ones are we not?
Because I know my kids at the school is just introducing the bring your own iPad or tablets or whatever.
Yep.
And I suppose that's obviously probably just accessing a Wi-Fi network. But although, like, it can still be, you've got all these Android devices out there, kids downloading free games here, free games there. Yeah, so you're bound to think that something's going to happen to these networks sooner or later, and just hopefully they got the smarts to put that Wi-Fi network on a different network than the rest of the school. But what are your thoughts on site blocking and bandwidth throttling, say for employees that bring their phones to work?
I think one of the things that you have to do with BYOD, and if you're using your own phone, is you have to have policies in place so everybody understands what their role in the system is. Okay, if a business has got a policy that says, yes, you can use your own phone, we'll pay X amount of dollars, but these are the restrictions. So the restrictions are, yes, you cannot use the Wi-Fi to go to a porn site, for instance.
Yeah.
You are restricted with you can't download stuff on the Wi-Fi network, for instance. And those are all part of the policies. And then once you've got a policy for a business, you can then give it to your staff members and say, these are the policies. Now, if you don't adhere to these policies, we have a repercussion system. And that then makes it a lot easier for both the business to understand what's happening and also the staff member to understand what's happening. But also you can also enforce that from a policy basis. You can say, well, your tablets have to have an antivirus component. They have to be sandpitted. So anything that you do download goes into a sandpit and doesn't run on the full system. All of that sort of information should be part of your policy as well.
But I suppose there wouldn't be too many employees. Like, I wouldn't be happy if, well, I wouldn't agree to it if someone said, okay, yeah, take your own device in, but hey, we're going to do all this, we're going to restrict it here, restrict it there, and you won't be able to do anything when you're at home. So
well, the difference is you've got to be lenient, and you want to get the best for a business out of what people are doing. So if you've got a system where you've got a cloud-based system, for instance, and you're using something. Let's take a system that we all use, maybe Dropbox, for instance.
Yeah.
Now you can do stuff at work. You can take it onto your laptop. You can do it at home. But all of that information is on your device. It is on the main system at work. And then you've got a major problem of how are you going to protect that information as a business? If you've got a CRM and people have access to all of it, how are you going to stop the person who's just about to walk out the door and go to your competition from taking all of their clients with them?
Yeah, well, that's right. Like someone approached me the other day because someone had left their sale. It wasn't like a big order, but left their business and had deleted a lot of files and said, "Oh, can I get them back?" And I went, well, I don't know. I'll have to have a look at it,
Yeah.
But I suppose that's what's happening. But that would come back to to our previous episodes on backups and all that. But
did you? Yeah.
Yeah. So site blocking and everything. Like a lot of companies, they will prohibit access to Facebooks and the YouTubes and all that. And that's probably just more from a product.
It's not so prevalent anymore because a lot of people are now using YouTube and they're using Facebook for the business themselves. Twitter's another one, whereas you can see in real time if people are talking about you, and you need your marketing people and your sales people to be able to jump on that. If someone is talking about you and bagging at your brand, for instance, you want to be able to sit there and go, thanks, you got your Facebook post.
Yeah.
Let's discuss this. And if you do it in front of everybody else, by Christ, your reputation grows. And it doesn't matter how bad the bagging is from a client. If you've got solutions in place that are going to target what they're complaining about, then you have a better understanding of what your product is, and B, what the rest of the social media environment is actually going to do for you.
But it'd be good. Would it be good if you had a phone that was, say, dual boot to work, dual boot to home?
Yeah. There's a number of phones now that are available that you can put 2 SIM cards in.
Yeah.
So
right.
you can have one for work, one for home.
Yeah.
Again, it's something that you can do. But again, it's one of those things where you have to literally, both as a business and as a staff member, sit down and go, what are the benefits that I'm going to get out of BYOD, and what are the benefits that the staff member is going to get out of BYOD, and then come up with a plan to maximise both areas.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much covered it. Are you happy with that?
I am very happy with it.
Yeah, that's excellent. Excellent.
I'll shut up now.
All right. Oh, you've done a great job the past about half an hour. So well done.
Good.
All right. So yes, don't forget Roger's webinars. You can join him live, or you can join him on the replay at www.rogersmith.com.au/Roger. And if you want to send him a email or contact him, or by Twitter is probably the easiest way, at SME Security, or go to his webpage, rniconsulting.com.au, or the rogersmith.com.au.
Yeah, it is all over the place.
It's all over the place. You'll find him. If you want him,
Just
you'll
look.
find him. And send him in a question, or send me a question if you want us to discuss something on the show. Something that's been, niggling away at the back of your neck or something. You want to know about it? Send it in. We'll do our best. All right. You can email me at Aussie Tech Heads, or Glenn at aussietechheads.com.au. All right, don't forget the Aussie Tech Radio, where this show and others are on the live stream 24/7 back to back, and you can tune in through TuneIn Radio. Just search for Aussie Tech Radio and you'll be away. All right, that's it. Thanks, Roger, for coming in.
Thank you, Glenn. Much appreciated.
We'll see you again soon. We'll probably have another episode out in a couple of weeks. So until then, it's goodbye from both of us. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.